Razzle dazzle, it's your best buddies Basil and Guns. Your favorite podcasters are at it again. Well, at least until the bunnies break free. Support value for value and think outside the cage with Canary Cry News Top.
Are you tired of advertisers trying to make you an offer you cannot refuse? Then support value for value with your best buddies, Basil and Guns, and Canary Cry News Talk.
Because it takes years of specialized training to watch adorable samurai babies. Join the CCNT Babysitter Club today and support value for value.
Check one, check two. Okay, I think we're going. Okay, folks, here we are. We're here. We are still figuring out this new program, and it's going so well. What's up, Loverbug91, Saltapal, Ellie, Estimating 1, Discovering 3, Echo 26. The whole gang's coming in. Lucky Luciano over on Rumble. We got Nocturnal Scowl. Siamese and Kingdom Child 63. What's going on, everybody? We are still working through some of the bugs on this side, but I am about to press the button, and this button will send out the text message. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Text message. Go into the wild! That's right. If you want to get in our Canary Cry text message alert system, are you tired of not getting alerts for the show? Are you tired of the shadow banning, especially moving in to this electoral year? Well, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's the word Canary to 877-740-326. Wait, what did I say? 3226. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's it. And you'll get put on our list. Don't worry, we don't take any information. We don't even take your name. There's no way for us to monetize it except just let you know that we are going live. So go do that. Let's see. Remember that I cannot respond to things that you say to me from that text message number, but I do appreciate everybody sending cute little messages back. Appreciate it, folks. Okay, it's Monday. We're trying our best. I don't actually see a timer on the screen, but I'm assuming that the time keeps on ticking anyways. So we're going to start the show in just a second. I will say at the top here that the January schlump is strong this year. So the producer list is quite short. So if you've been waiting for the moment to have maximum impact with your producership, now would be a great time to do it. You can do that by going to canarycry.support. Value for value, your way on into the future. All right, well, I think we should be getting the show started just about now, so let's go.
The world is is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gons as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
That's right. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is January 8th, 2024. This is episode 704. And today, the NEPHILIM update. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gons, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from very cold California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Today's emergent phenomena, we've gone mainstream, Basil. We have broken new ground. We have broken through the firmament. Topics that we talk about have trended in the mainstream.
Oh, no, not just topics we've talked about. Look, if you're a longtime listener, excuse us for one moment while we gawk at the strange twists and turns that history has taken. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If we are in a simulation, the simulation is paying a lot of attention to Canary Cry Radio and Canary Cry News Talk. Back in the day, when we had to hide in the dark corners of the internet, podcasting about fringe topics from a Christian worldview, creating a safe space for all those seekers and weirdos out there to talk about things like the Nephilim and the occult and the Illuminati and the geopolitical nonsense and the mainstream news and their shenanigans, all that stuff, which, well, created a reason for us to keep our identities close to the chest. Well, now it's just straight up mainstream, showing up on the most popular news outlets, in print, on TV, on radio, doesn't matter. That's where we're at, folks. So I don't know if I should be apologizing for the influence on the simulation, or I, probably shouldn't even be bragging about it. This could be a big problem.
Yeah, don't give the algos things that can be used against us.
It's really crazy. And honestly, I'm not just saying this for content. I'm saying it because I need to say it out loud because I can't believe that it's real, that it's happening. But yes, that's why the longtime Canary Criers are not surprised by literally anything going on in the world today. Even the most obscure topics and theories that have come across these airwaves for the past going on, 11 or 12 years now, are just topics of mainstream conversation. So yeah. I'm envious. I'm envious of the listeners of this show. I wish I could listen to a podcast that becomes more and more relevant by the day, against all odds. But welcome. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, and just as a side note, we just passed 300 episodes since our last medical misinformation, and that strike is still on the YouTube channel, the Canary Cry Radio or News Talk YouTube channel. Oh, so yeah, that was episode 402. So yeah, literally over 300 episodes ago. They're still getting us. Still getting us.
Episodes later, huh?
Yeah. So because of that, we're gonna do a disclaimer.
Oh yeah.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security.
We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys.
All right, folks. And Gons, that was pretty quiet for me, but remember, we are still trying to get a hang of our new streaming software. So if volumes or levels or things are a little wonky, if you're watching live, please let us know in the chat if anything's a little wonky, because What I am hearing is not what you're hearing, and we're just trying to get a handle on taking our step into the future here. We've been called old men for too long for using Skype for all of our podcasting needs, and so we're testing out all these newfangled softwares from all these kids out there, and Gons is almost a grandpa, I think. So
it's getting there. Yeah,
takes us a second. All right, but let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Yeah, we're starting out, folks, with the Nephilim update. It happened on the day of last episode, so we weren't able to bring it to you, but here we are now. We have got the 10-foot shadow aliens loose in Miami. And here's the thing, folks, the story of what may or may not have happened is less interesting than the way that story is being weaponized in the 5th generation war that we are currently experiencing. So we'll be giving our thoughts top to bottom there, and perhaps there's even a tie-in with some of the Epstein shenanigans. I don't know. We'll find out together. Then, for the Flippy update, the robot arms, they are marching, and Google, in all of its technocratic benevolence, has come out with a robot constitution. That's right. You know, the American Constitution was good for a while, but now they've just thrown it out the window, so we need a robot constitution to displace it. Then, a little bit of World War III in the main section of the show. Venezuela versus Guyana. What's going on there? What does it mean in the broader context? And then, of course, a little check-in on the mainstream and the occult. And Antarctica, once again, rearing its beautiful head of hair to let us know what is to come in the future. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Yeah, here we go. We're talking Nephilim update.
Oh, he's so loud.
I'm loud?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't change anything over here.
Of course.
Of course.
Not. It's
Nephilim update.
Boing.
Yep. Okay.
The Nephilim update, the long beloved segment of the show that Gons brings us. Again, it used to be at the end of the show because it was such an obscure topic. It used to be kind of the closer where Gons would bring us moments in the media where Nephilim could be mentioned or could be referred to or maybe analyzed sort of through the side door. But now it's at the top of the show, folks. Nephilim in the mainstream news.
Let me hit that jingle one more time, a little louder.
Nephilim update.
We are getting...
Have you ever heard of the Nephilim, my dear?
What's a Nephilim?
Why, they're found in Genesis chapter 6.
You reached chapter 6?
Are you're not getting the full experience, are you, Basil?
No, it's getting quite quiet for me over here. And JCS77 on Rumble says can barely hear Basil.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying earlier. You're very
Gonzo's
quiet.
overall, this is from Morv. Oh, Sir Morv's here. Gonzo's overall volume level is a little bit more than Basil. Okay. Gonz, you're pushing me out. He's trying to push me out of the show through technology.
I'm pulling myself back. I'm holding myself. Hold me back.
Okay.
Is that better?
I don't know. I'm not hearing what everybody else
This
is
is fun.
hearing,
I like doing this live right at the top of the show. We needed to do it, though, at some point. Okay. Maybe this will help. I'm a little quieter.
Yeah, it was suggested. It was suggested last episode that we take today and just do like a live show where we're mostly just testing the tech to try to dial it in. So there's a chance that we will kind of have a little bit of a mix, okay? We'll be trying our best to do a show, but we may have these moments where we do some adjusting. And this is good. We need the producers in on this process because obviously, Gons, you and I doing it ourselves is not doing the trick.
Well, it would help if we each had a third ear that was on the other side of a computer screen from where we are.
That's the producers. They're our third ear.
Forget the third eye, folks. It's the third. It's all about the third ear.
T T Streeter 07 on Rumble says that's a little better, but Rumble is also buggy.
Yeah.
So we might need to, we might have a solution for that next episode.
Yeah. Okay. So the Nephilim. So the Nephilim are a race of giants that were offspring between an unholy marriage between rebellious, divine, some would say pre-Adamic beings, and the daughters of Adam, daughters of mankind, as recorded in Genesis 6. It's the more precise reason why God said all flesh had corrupted their way and decided to flood the earth, except for Noah, who was found to be tamim in the Hebrew, which means blameless or without blemish. And we talk about the Nephilim to not only help us understand the cosmic war that we are in, of which the Bible is our guide, but also to explore everything from ancient mythology to contemporary topics in the paranormal, supernatural, aliens, UFOs, cryptozoology, and all those fuzzy entities out there. So in that context here, we have the Rolling Stones. I guess it's Rolling Stone. Sorry, it's singular.
Yeah,
RollingStone.com. The magazine, not the band. Yeah, sorry. Conspiracy theorists convinced shadow aliens are loose in Miami.
Okay,
so there you go.
Right off the bat, I mean, they had to do it this way. They couldn't just cover a current event that says, you know, hey, something weird's going on in Miami. Look at these videos, look at the TikToks or whatever. It's about the conspiracy theorists. They are the subject, and the object is the Nephilim running around now.
The shadow aliens. Yeah. The public needs to, they can't just get hit with Nephilim in the headline. They need it to be, you know, they need to Neph pill them. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Nephi pill? Yeah, Neph pill. Okay, here we go. The Miami police showed up in force to respond to a disturbance at a downtown open air mall on New Year's Day after reports of teens brawling and setting off fireworks, ultimately arresting 4 individuals between the ages of 14 and 16. But with footage of the chaos and dozens of cop cars lined up alongside Bayside Market making the rounds online in the following days, it wasn't long before a cohort of conspiracists had invented a very different story befitting the X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday,
how all this sort of lined up with the ongoing Epstein document release as well. A little suspicious there. Why?
Suspicious.
Don't look at all the names of your favorite celebrities and politicians being connected to the biggest intelligence operation in blackmailing via, you know, unsavory dark practices with world leaders, politicians, celebrities, all this kind of stuff, where the revealing, the apocalypse of the elite sort of operation is all coming into public view. No, look over here. You got some, not only do you have some aliens, but have you heard of the Nephilim? Yes, think about this for a while.
Yeah. So it continues here. On Friday, Miami Mall trended on X, formerly Twitter, a platform that owner Elon Musk has said, quote, needs to become by far the most accurate source of information about the world, end quote. Now, this is a point to make because we reported a couple weeks ago how Elon was in Israel after the Gaza thing and made a deal with a company over there called Check, CHEQ, and it was supposed to be something that secretly, I think the way they described it was like without the user knowing, they're being tested constantly on platforms like X to prove their humanity or something. So there's some kind of experiment, I would say, going on here as well. There's the Epstein, Mossad, but also Israel, Nephilim, you know, the old Hebrew Bible. There's a lot of dots, and I think they connect eventually here. But let's keep reading here. So bring up Elon, of course. But the top posts were from misinformation and conspiracy theory accounts, many favored by the site's algorithm thanks to their paid verification badges. I don't think the paid verification badge has done much for you and I, Basil.
Don't even get me started. By the way, I turned up my gain a little bit.
Oh, so you are super loud now.
Yeah, am I okay? My gain was a little
coming in.
Down.
Woo! Okay,
so maybe this will help.
Oh boy, I can hear your esophagus. Hold on one second.
Folks, we
Let me-
need you in the live chat to be constantly giving us feedback on
Yeah,
these
yeah.
volume things. It's the only way we're going to make this happen.
Okay, let me continue on here. All right,
Well, hold on.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
So-
you were going to say something. Yeah.
Number one, the Rolling Stone is the perfect example of this. The old school idea that verification badges mean that you are an important person.
Right.
The elites of the internet hated when Elon changed the verification badge, which now means you are a human. That's what it
Right.
means. You
Right.
are a human, and that's it. You are a verified human. It is embarrassing to watch these institutions and elites complain as if the verified badge means you're a celebrity. They cannot change their mind about this. They are so
it's weird.
stuck in the old world where verified meant you paid somebody at Twitter $10,000 and you're you have a Wikipedia page and you're a very important person. And for them to still be insisting that verified accounts mean you're an important person or trusted as a piece of information flow is I don't even know what to call it. It's embarrassing is what it is.
Yeah.
And then notice how it's misinformation accounts, not misinformational posts, not whatever. They are categorized as accounts that post misinformation. So it's now an identity, not just a descriptor of a fact or non-fact.
Right. Yeah, there's probably a whole slew of content creators that are tracked as these quote unquote misinformation sources, and whatever they say, they will be first labeled misinformation by the mainstream there. Okay. So we talk about that, the paid verification stuff. Okay, so let me see. Many favored by the site's algorithm thanks to their paid verification badges, speculating that the heavy police presence indicated a government cover-up. Of what, you ask? Oh, probably some 10-foot aliens and or shadow creatures. The term NEPHILIM, referring to mysterious beings mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, who are sometimes portrayed as giants or fallen angels, also briefly trended on X, though video of such characters were hard to come by.
Yeah, that's true.
It is true. So, okay. I like how this is it right here. Probably 10-foot aliens or shadow creatures. The term Nephilim, they just go right into the Nephilim. There's no, the setup is 10-foot aliens, shadow creatures, Nephilim. That's sort of the handheld introduction to the topic. So there you go. Some misleading tweets falsely claimed.
No background on Nephilim.
Well, there were a little bit. I mean, mysterious beings mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, sometimes portrayed as giants or fallen angels, briefly trended on X. There you go. That's your background.
Okay.
Some misleading tweets falsely claimed that there were no media coverage of the incident, baselessly reported that individuals had fired guns at the shadow beings and overstated the extent of the lockdown in the area. Parenthetical, police had to shut down 6 blocks of traffic, and the number of vehicles likely had more to do with the fireworks causing panic about a possible mass shooting, end parentheses. Now, I will say, you've seen the footage, Basil. We'll play a little bit here, but it is a lot of cops. That's a lot of cop cars. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's probably about 70 or 80 cop cars.
It looks massive from the aerial view of the footage that people are using to, claim Nephilim.
It's an enormous amount of cop cars. That is true. I mean, that's what made this so suspicious from the beginning. And to be clear, this entire sort of theory or something came from, as it often does, from a single TikToker. I don't know if you brought that. I don't know if you brought the original TikTok, but it was a gal who had started seeing videos about it or whatever, and she did some Google searches and I think she was searching for mass shooting at Miami Mall, and nothing was coming up. Google wasn't showing any mass shooting at Miami Mall with 10-foot aliens.
So
and then
cover up.
She searched X. X doesn't have anything about mass shooting at a Miami Mall with 10-foot aliens, so it must be a cover up. Look, maybe it's a cover up, but just because nothing showed up for your sort of wild Google search, especially because it contained mass shooting Miami Mall, January 2024.
Yeah,
and
those
the
are not
mass
yours.
shooting part, where did that even come from? I
Yeah,
don't.
where did you hear that? Where
It's
was
on
she
the
getting her
video.
source?
It's on the original video.
No, I know,
or
but
maybe she said shooter or something. I don't remember.
But what was she looking at that got her to ask the question about the mass shooting?
That's what
Like,
I'm
who told
saying.
her?
I don't
Yeah.
think she ever told us why she made those exact searches,
Okay.
because it wasn't a mass shooting. It wasn't a shooting at the mall. The story is that it was a bunch of kids, and she was referring to like maybe a couple kids fighting with sticks, but the claim is that there was like 50 teenagers running around with sticks and fireworks at the mall. Look, 50 teenagers, even unarmed, is a dangerous situation.
True.
So, I don't know. It just bugged me that there was some pretty serious discrepancies with the person who made this go viral and really any of the actual, the alleged facts of the situation.
Yeah, it was a lot of. Let's just keep reading the article and then we can comment a little more.
Yeah,
but,
real quick
okay.
comment. Just some comments coming in that I am still not balanced. Maybe when you turn me down because I turned myself up, maybe that just put it right back to where we were. I don't know, but
let me see here. Nope, I haven't touched you. I have not touched you.
Well, you turned me down when I turned up my gain.
I turned you down in my headphones, but not out there, not on the
Maybe
platform.
You're broadcasting your headphones to the world.
Yeah, maybe that's
I
possible.
don't know. Just telling you what JCS77's saying on Rumble.
You
All
are
right,
quieter
continue.
than you were when you were super loud and came in hot. So,
yeah.
Okay. Where were we? Yes, the whole thing. Oh, after that parenthetical that we paused there, right into a few implied that it was all intended as a distraction from the unsealing of documents related to sex traffickers Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, a few level-headed analysts there, I guess.
Yeah, I'm glad Rolling Stone mentioned it, and other viral posts, including one that incorrectly referenced the havoc unfolding on Thursday rather than Monday, and a TikTok that the user later confirmed was a trollish joke. Why are you even mentioning it then, Rolling Stone? Purported to be eyewitness accounts of supernatural phenomena. I believe this is LARPing, Basil. It's like admitting to LARPing. Collectively, these posts have been viewed millions of times. Yes, because the CCP has a button to make anything on TikTok go viral.
And now it's news. Of
Now
course.
it's news.
If something's been viewed millions of times, you got to write it up in Rolling Stone.
The ridiculous theories got so out of hand that the Miami Police Department spokesperson was compelled to inform TMZ that overhead footage of a supposed gray creature was in fact a human being and their shadow. Quote, what is seen on this clip is the shadow of someone walking, they said. If you look at the bottom of the shadow, you can see the person, no creature. Another clip of an alleged creature was just blurry video of 3 police officers walking alongside one another. So, yeah, some of the footage was a little scant. Just my initial reaction to seeing it, it was like, I don't know, guys, come on. Like, I was hoping for a little bit more.
Right.
Once people are freaking out, Nephilim trending, all this kind of stuff, and look at the footage, and you had a bunch of teenagers walking around, and you couldn't get a single kid to get like real clear phone footage, or a few kids. Right. I mean, if you had 50 teenagers running around and you had something that big or just obvious walking around, you better bet that it would be a much bigger thing, or the shutdown would be way more intense. It wouldn't just be like,
I mean, I think the logic of it is that the 50 teenagers were the cover up, so there really weren't 50 teenagers.
Yeah, of course.
But
and
it goes against everything we know about UFO sightings or alien sightings is the thing. An alien to show up in a highly populated area and run amok, and that's just not their MO. What other time have you heard of a credible story of aliens showing up in a highly populated area, running around, getting attention? If an alien species wanted some attention, they could find a much better place to kind of, reveal themselves. I don't know. I thought that part was a little strange. The only sort of comparable sightings we have to that were the South America, I believe the Peruvian aliens on floating platforms, and of course that may or may not be some cartel
those were gold.
members
Yeah,
with a bunch of
gold.
tech. Yeah.
That was a little different. There, in history, there's been more stuff that are, especially before the Industrial Revolution. There's reports of sightings that seem supernatural, more so of your traditional type, and that's the thing. You would expect it to be more intense, messianic, whatever it might be, but just a random sighting. It could be, but at the very. So of course we don't know for sure. I wasn't there. The footage isn't great. It's possible that it would be easy enough for somebody to beam down some kind of laser thing of a giant and then get a bunch of kids to freak out about it and make it go viral. That's a thing.
Blue beam on this?
Yeah, like just a blue beam test run, or a small test run of blue beam, see how it works or whatever. There's also the possibility that the people that are saying it are either in on it or got bad information. And they, so you never know at what level.
Or they're totally
making it up. That's what I'm saying.
Because it was viral on TikTok. Now, you know what this is? And again, this is not a mistake. This is not a mistake of the population for this to be spiraling so out of control like it did when it was happening live. Very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
We are in a 5th generation war, which means information, your mind is the battlefield. Alex Jones was right all along. It involves nation states, it involves corporations, it involves deep state, unelected officials who are rooted in our governments, it involves cartels, it involves everything. And I think what we're seeing here may have started as a test or may have been, either way, it is a display of a manufactured mass psychosis, mass formation. I mean, we saw it during COVID. We know they can pull it off. And it doesn't matter if anybody saw anything at all because of the scant information, the scant video that came out, and people's desire to be distracted from what's going on. You had millions of people buying in to basically an invitation to LARP. And, there's just not enough to get excited about 8-foot aliens. It's much more convenient in a current, real 5th generation warfare and an exercise in mass formation psychosis at a opportune time for the entire elite population when things are so at risk with Epstein going on. I mean, I think it's interesting how Rolling Stone commented about, some other conspiracy theorist thinks it was a distraction, as if the theory that it was a distraction is as wild as the theory that there were 10-foot aliens. The way they present the very rational idea that this story was sort of purposefully at least taken advantage of to distract from the literal pedophile empire populating elite positions in our country and in our world, that, this may have gotten a little overblown on purpose. The fact that that's on the same level as conspiracy theorists as actual 10-foot aliens is absolutely indicative of their weaponization of this story. And, I know it's fun. We want to believe that there were 10-foot aliens running around. We want to believe that there was a cover-up. But they know that. And that's part of the 5th generation warfare is for them to give you the impression that you are getting what you want. That is how they win your mind.
And especially with a topic like the Nephilim, which you and I both believe is a real thing. It's not just like some fantasy. This is like biblical. There's historical evidence for it. And, I guess you can call it alternative history or whatever, but there's enough stuff about it to suggest that something is going on that the public or mainstream is not necessarily acknowledging. And it's a big topic. So and it's also something that hasn't been sort of not tainted. That's not the right word, but the other word, like the word aliens, has been overused in headlines and media in the last couple of years, especially with all the UFO stuff in government. And so the Nephilim becomes a very useful alternative keyword to start farming all the people and what they're thinking. But also, I think the topic of the Nephilim will be the vehicle to a transhuman world. It is the absolute, because once you put it out there, you're going to get people like us that are like, okay, this is biblical. It clearly states, this is bad. This is not a good thing for humanity. In fact, you can argue that a large portion of Jesus's ministry had to do, or just not just Jesus, but the entire biblical narrative has to do with, defeating or overcoming these entities that are unholy and they were not supposed to be. They were outside of the kinds that were created by God. So the people will agree with that. But then there will be a whole host of people that are like, I'm in, man. I'm into this Nephilim. I want to be a Nephilim. That's awesome. Let's do it.
A great intro into injecting the idea of the Nephilim into the culture at large. It's been very interesting to watch how the alternative and independent space has caught up to the Nephilim thing. I mean, Tucker,
yeah. I have a clip here with that.
Tucker is talking about Nephilim. You've got everybody's talking about Nephilim now. It's wild that it's become so popular, even in this sort of alternative space. And now Nephilim has jumped from the weird, indie podcasters from 2012, jumped to Tucker, and now it's jumped to Rolling Stone. It has full, sort of full infiltration of the media landscape.
Right. And it's because the topic has to do with genetics. It has to do with, certain biology. It has cosmic implications. It can reference, it's a place where people can ground certain things going on in the world today to mythology. But this is why I think the Epstein connection is important to bring up here, because yes, the surface level analysis is, the Epstein stuff is happening, distraction over here, Nephilim. But I think even the distraction is actually useful in the entire Epstein thing, because as if those of us who've been around, we track stuff like this. Now, first of all, I want to mention that I went to Google Trends here. Let me make sure that this is all being broadcast so people can see. You did some keyword searches or keys there. What is it? What am I trying to say? Search terms like end times, mark of the beast, image of the beast, Bible prophecy, Nephilim. And, of course, there was a big spike in the last 5 years or so with COVID. End times spiked like crazy. And then again, end times spiked recently in October of 2023 with what happened in Gaza. And Nephilim was always very low. It barely made the charts. But then this last week, it shot up to 100. It was all the way at the top of the trending list.
Yeah, it's wild.
Which is crazy. It's crazy to see. I have the past 90 days pulled up here. I can pull up the last 5 years so people can see a little bit more of how significant the Nephilim pump is. But it's literally, just hugging the bottom the whole time, and then it went parabolic over the weekend. So it is a new era, Basil. The Nephilim is in the minds of your general public. I was going to say that it's very similar to the Illuminati. Remember, the Illuminati was kind of this conspiracy idea, 80s, 90s. Some Christians were talking about it. Early 2000s got a little bit more, the Bill Coopers and stuff are talking about it. And then as time went on, more people learned about it as both as a joke, like, oh yeah, the conspiracy, the Illuminati, but also it made it into culture. It was all over culture. It was obvious in all kinds of TV shows and cartoons and everything else. And it created this culture of, I'm totally against that. And the people that are like, how do I join the Illuminati? You know what I mean? Like there were, and you can still find ads of people like, hey, join the Illuminati. It's probably a scam.
People get messages every day, invitations to join the Illuminati.
So in a similar fashion, I feel like the Nephilim is that next level where it's not just, hey, join this club. It's, hey, let's do all the enhancements, quote unquote enhancements, right? So that's something to keep in mind as Nephilim trends. But also, speaking of the Illuminati watcher, that's Isaac Weishapt. He's been longtime contact, just a peer researcher doing independent content for years. And he had a take, just a 1 minute take on all the stuff going on with the Nephilim thing that went viral. And he also plays the clip of Roseanne. So let's check this out. Real quick.
Conspiracy about aliens in the mall in Miami on January 2nd. Let's talk about it. The proof is flimsy, but I got to admit, this is an awful lot of police to arrest 4 kids causing a disturbance at the mall. The local news said the teens were causing panic, so they had to shut down 6 city blocks and send presumably hundreds of police officers to the area. The conspiracy starts because the eyewitnesses claim they saw 10-foot aliens walking around the mall, and that's really what was shutting everything down. Others claim there were black helicopters, police scanners were shut down, the airport wasn't letting planes through, and all kinds of stuff. There's a famous TikToker named Auntie Colette, and she suggested that maybe we're in the days of Noah, the end times, and this was a giant alien race known as the NEPHILIM walking around like back in the days of Noah. I'll add more fuel to that fire and mention that Tucker Carlson was talking to Roseanne Barr about the NEPHILIM just a couple weeks ago.
No idea what's going on. I don't know if this is the NEPHILIM, right?
I was going to say.
I don't know.
I know.
2024 is off to a banging start. We might get Project Bluebeam faster than we thought.
Boom.
Yeah.
We're going to get Project Bluebeam quicker than ever. So yeah, that's the sentiment out there. And so, yeah, we've been prepared for this moment, but also settle down, everybody. I think they're playing us. They're playing us.
No, I mean, and I mentioned at the end of last year that, you know, we and the listeners of this show and people sort of in our specific niche, you know, it's sort of the fringy kind of Christian-y truther part. I mean, our peers, I want to make sure to sort of separate them from the, like, I don't know, the more secular side of it, which even Christianity as a topic is sort of starting to seep into the formerly secular truther space. But the point of, oh, nuts, what was I just going to say? Oh, no, Gons. I got distracted.
Those googly eyes have failed you.
What did you just mention? What did you just...
I was talking about Isaac and the
Yes. Okay, sorry. Yes, I mentioned at the end of last year that it feels like we are very specifically... like, this is the time. This is, you know, all the weird twists and turns of the history of this show and others in the genre and the really unique characteristics of the Christian worldview, you know, sort of in the...
addressing all this weird stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Is more than ever extremely important. And it's important to have... people who have been doing this for a long time, you know, talk about the Nephilim, this type of thing, biblical prophecy. It's easy for a you know, formerly or currently secular podcaster to kind of see the rumblings, see the post, kind of mention it on their show and just kind of wonder about it. But it's time, you know, you need some veterans out there to shed some sanity on the situation, or else you're gonna have people jumping on Nephilim in the Rolling Stone magazine, and things are just gonna go completely sideways. Of course, with our sort of perspective on it being rooted in some quality scholarly and academic researchers like L.A. Marzulli and Mike Heiser and the like that. I'd be interested to see what their numbers are looking like now, because really this is the moment for that type of long-time scholarly academic good quality research to be injected,
put in the spotlight.
To have it, you're right, to have it available, and to have it easily accessible for the now millions of people who are just hearing about Nephilim for the first time.
Yeah, and I go to a very tame church, and over the weekend, it wasn't Nephilim talk, but it was as end timesy as as this church has ever been. Right. And I was very surprised. I was like, wow, okay, we're going there. And don't get me started. I walked out. I didn't want to start any conversations.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity for Canarians all over the place, you know, longtime listeners. When this Nephilim topic starts coming up, first of all, you can probably riff on some of the good academics of the topic, but, you know, now's the time to share the Mike Heiser episodes, to share the L.A. Marzulli episodes.
We're going to get L.A. back on soon, too.
Yeah, he's and there. Especially... you know, because these episodes are a few years old, some of them, you know, close to 10 years old.
Yeah.
It is bearing witness that there is a long time tradition of connecting these topics like Nephilim and such to current events. And I think that's going to be a very powerful witness, even though it's old and, online, if your content isn't brand new, it's not going to go viral or whatever. This is kind of a sort of akin to like busting out an old book that has the information.
Basil, you and I always knew that we were on this sort of path to build the ark, we knew it, like every episode of News Talk, especially as you get into a few hundred episodes, it's like, okay, like you have to be able to see the bigger picture. Otherwise it's just, it becomes a little, we get run down,
Right.
It gets rough. But just to tie it back to the Epstein thing, and speaking of history, there's an article that's 4 years old from The Guardian. And the headline is Epstein reportedly hoped to develop super race of humans with his DNA. And so the information's been out there. This is where I think the connection with or using the Nephilim as a topic to disseminate this type of information to the public is related to the Epstein conversation, because Epstein funded so much of it.
These details are often ignored in the Epstein conversation. Not just Epstein Island, not just Lolita Express, but his, whatever it was, New Mexico ranch that he was starting to, to eugenics project to make the, some enormous percentage of future humans to be his progeny with his like ranch of concubines that he was going to.
It's out of control. It's
populating the earth with. I mean,
it's
is a huge part of it that's not getting talked about.
It's definitely beyond just the pedo and the trafficking and all that. That's what the public is getting. And I think, it's obviously outrageous and people need to expose it and denounce it and push back against that. But there's an even darker side underneath, which is, I think, what people are starting to at least see, and the light will shine everywhere. So for example, financial-world.org, this just came out, The Dark Side of Genius, uncovering Jeffrey Epstein's transhumanism obsession. And it goes through a bunch of stuff here, but I just wanted to quote a particular part here.
Genius added in there.
I don't know.
Epstein is known as a lot of things. I don't know anyone who considers Epstein a genius.
I don't know if it's tongue in cheek. Maybe that's how they want him to be remembered, long after we're all gone. Yeah, Epstein's views and scientific endeavors. Epstein's scientific gatherings were not just theoretical discussions, but also platforms where he expressed controversial views on population control and societal improvement. At a Harvard session, as recounted by Mr. Pinker, Epstein opposed efforts to alleviate starvation and improve health care for the poor, arguing that these measures could exacerbate overpopulation. This stance led to Epstein's estrangement from some academic circles. Yeah, the ones, some of them. Controversial business ventures, Epstein's scientific and financial pursuits, Epstein's interest in scientific advancements was not merely theoretical, but also extended into complex business ventures. His project, Southern Trust, reportedly generating substantial revenues for DNA research, demonstrates his active engagement in cutting-edge scientific endeavors. So he really was boots on the ground for the transhumanist movement.
Transhumanist technocrat. What a strange outlet to be talking about it. And this does sound like some pro-Epstein media coverage here. Oh, sure, he did bad stuff, but he was a genius. And, geniuses, there's always a dark side to those geniuses. Exactly. That is one thing about Epstein that is not getting talked about. And again, yes, is his Lolita Express operation the most sort of
blatant example
that we've ever heard of? Yes, it is. It's horrible. But also, with the eye of the public, the spotlight being so focused on those crimes, there's not a lot of talk about his involvement in planning the technocratic sort of dystopian engineered future by these occult weirdos. I mean, it's again, it just goes to the bigger picture that you mentioned.
Yeah. His business venture, Southern Trust, reportedly generated $200 million in revenues by exploring DNA sequencing and its potential commercial applications, akin to projects undertaken by companies like 23andMe and Calico, a Google Life Extension spinoff. This enterprise involved studying DNA on a Caribbean island and selling the insights to drug manufacturers, a plan that, while outlandish, finds echoes in the legitimate scientific community. Oh boy, man, this is this Epstein angle here, I think, is it's another one of those things, another layer, I guess, that maybe people just aren't ready for, or maybe it's people like us who've been looking at the topic of the Nephilim who can contextualize why, the whole days of Noah thing that Jesus talked about,
but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
And then people look at what was going on in the days of Noah, 600 years, or was it 650 years before the flood, and then 300 years after the flood, which means Tower of Babel, all that stuff going on. But again,
just to explicitly make the connection, that's the connection with Epstein. I mean, his connection to the technocratic engineers of the future and their desire to replicate the days of Noah. And of course, we know how that all ended. But yes, with the inclusion of the Nephilim, bringing in the exact sort of offspring of that time into the mainstream public conversation. I mean, it's sort of a worn out phrase here, folks, but it really is all connected.
It is. And just to top it off here, I think to understand I think we're at some kind of peak for public awareness of the pedophile part of it. I don't know that. I suppose there's still people that are. What was it? I think there was I don't have the clip, but I think Conan O'Brien recently on his podcast had a guy, like some longtime Hollywood guy or something, producer, writer, and he had no idea that he knew Epstein, and I think it was genuine. It didn't seem like it was acted. He didn't know that Epstein had been, committed with crimes and he died in jail or whatever, quote unquote.
Just didn't know anything.
Didn't know any of it. So I think some people in their bubbles,
okay.
I don't know if I believe it either, but it was somewhat of a genuine response. Okay. So in that regard, the peak culture here being Jim Gaffigan cracks pedophile joke at Golden Globes 2024 after Jeffrey Epstein list drops.
Golden Globes. I mean, I can't even believe I'm in the entertainment industry. I can't. It's so unlikely. I'm from a small town in Indiana. I'm not a pedophile.
Zing.
Yeah.
Hot pockets.
Yeah. Now, of course, if somebody doesn't know, Gaffigan his brand is that he's a clean comedian. He's a family man. He's just
Catholic.
kind of, Catholic guy, very sort of devout in that way. So it could be possible that he's sort of insulated from a lot of stuff, or it could just be the branding working out well. But again, remember when Ricky Gervais did sort of a similar thing and got kicked out, and it was a big hullabaloo, and it's an interesting day when there's actually people sort of I don't know.
It's almost like
that and not having it be a big scandal.
Yeah, it is weird. It's almost like he has the favor of the Pope or something, which he likes the Pope. But it's interesting. It's either he kind of sees the writing on the wall. So he's saying, okay, they asked me to do this, but we all see kind of what's happening economically with the traditional infrastructure of Hollywood. So yeah, go ahead and drop the pedo joke and get a laugh and get a. But I don't know. It's just who watches the Golden Globes? Nobody cares. This was like this was one of the moments.
That stuff.
Yeah. So this might have been their plot to like, hey, the country is conservative now. They don't like pedophiles. Let's let Jim Gaffigan drop the pedophile joke. So
I don't know.
Who knows?
Or who knows? Maybe he's really taking a.
Maybe he's the pedo. Yeah.
Oh jeez. All right, Guns. Well, that was a nice plump first block of the show there. Let's go ahead and take a second and remind everybody what day it is.
It's a plump Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday. Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
It's Monday, folks. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We're glad to be here. It's an exciting time to be alive, Gons. Do you have anything to report?
Let's see. I think there was something I mentioned in my notes here, but I forgot what it was. That's always good. That's why we have notes. Oh, that's right. We have a nanny.
That's
we
right.
do have a nanny.
No
it is.
kids
It has
screaming in the
happened.
background.
Yes. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so right now, just to be transparent with the producers, we have childcare Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which is good for Mondays and Wednesdays live show.
Yes.
And the Tuesdays we'll be devoting to doing some more Canary Cry Radio interview episodes. And if all goes well, we'll have those Tuesdays booked, and we'll have interview episodes every Friday. But you know how this goes. We'll see how our good plans go.
Yeah.
So those who enjoyed the kids on the show, there is a chance that you'll still get some kids on the show on Friday.
There's a possibility, but I want to believe, Basil,
Yes,
that we will have guests that hop on with us, and we can share their research every Friday.
Yes, and we have some producers who are, or we have a producer who has stepped in to help us fill that need, and I will be thanking them when the time comes. But the point of that is that it's 2024. This podcast is positioned where it is positioned because the Lord has put us there, and you, dear producer, have been put here as well for the same reason. And so, beginning of this year, we're really inviting people to get involved. Again, it's value for value, where we create as much value as we can with the show, with the evergreen episodes, with the community, all this kind of stuff. And we don't take any money from corporations, cartels, or commies. It's entirely funded by people who get value from the show. It's a basic economic concept. If we ever stop creating value, the value will stop making its way back to us. And so it's important that we let everybody know that that's how it works. You're not going to get any advertisement. We don't practice the occult art of marketing, which is gathering as much of your attention as we possibly can and then selling it to a corporation. No. We wouldn't do that to you. But one way that you can show the show or show the community that you're getting value here is to jump in, volunteer to help out with stuff. That has been the biggest thing holding us back for our entire over a decade of show now, is simply you and I have a limited resource. So the producers who come in, they join the team, and whether it be something little or something big, like doing the timestamps, we've got people. Well, we have opportunities to do clips, to do social media stuff, to help in sort of an HR type of way. There's also, we've got developers, stuff like that. So no matter what your passion or your interests or your skills are, applying it to the Canary Cry community it's an open option for you. And there's no better time than 2024. And if you go to canarycry.support and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a form there that you can fill out, and that puts you on a list, and we'll get in contact with you. Some fun questions there just to learn a little bit more about you. And you can get hooked in with a bunch of stuff we got going on. So go check that out. Yeah, where were we? Oh, the childcare. Yes, I will say, again, with the transparency, we are currently we have not hit the goal of Canary Cry Babysitters Club people. For those who don't know, if you go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com, you can commit to helping the show out with 1 hour of babysitting time a month. And that you can know for a fact that money goes straight to the child care, and also by extension Gonz's sanity, and also by extension the quality of the show. So if that's something you're interested, please go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com. We are currently not at the goal to make this situation sustainable, but we are stepping out in faith, making it happen, showing the Lord that this is what we intend and we feel called to by him. And the prayer is that the Lord will provide to make that a permanent solution if he so wills it. And if you want to be a part of that, go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com, sign up there. But Gons, like I said, we're all doing our best to produce here. And we're going to do that. Let's thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. The executive producers are saying, hey, I get a lot of value from the show. So they produce the show for $100 or more per individual episode. And that's why we thank them here at the top of the show. And, Gons, it is the historical January schlump. For producership. So we got a pretty short list today. It happens every single year. The only question is, how quickly can we get out of the January schlump? But let's be no less grateful, perhaps even more grateful, to our one and only executive producer for this episode. That's executive producer Sir Alex Protocol V2 Knight of the Berean Protocol. That's right.
All right. Thank you.
Comes in for his classic $100.33. Illuminatus. And he's on a 251 episode streak in total and a 47 executive producer streak.
Oops, wrong one. Oh, and you said he passed 250 on the regular streaks?
Yeah.
The Canary and the Red Chinese. Come on.
There you go.
What is that one?
250.
What does it say? It says American and a Chinese robot? What?
The Canary and the Red Chinese. Come on.
Canary and a Chinese?
I don't know why that is the jingle, but you know what? That's part of the fun here, guys. All right. I'm going to just go through and thank the rest of our financial producers. It'll be a short list.
Before you do that, thank you, Sir Alex Protocol V2 Knight of the Berean Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
Bankroll out the bankroll I spent.
Okay. And we got some producers who came under the executive producer amount, but still over the $7.77, which does entitle them to have a note read on the show. But we got one from producer Sir Marty K, Night of the Wrong Timeline.
Hey, Sir Marty K, thank you very much.
Comes in for $33.33.
Oh, Illuminatus.
Illuminatus! Yes, and he is on a 2-episode streak.
2 episodes. Nope. There it is.
There it is. There it is. Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. He sent us a note, but I think it was not a read on the show note, but we did get the note. Thank you, Sir Marty K. You're an important asset to the show.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have producership from T. Streeter.
T. Streeter.
T. Streeter 07 is in the Rumble chat right now. It came in for $7.77.
Thank you very much.
Now, we did not receive an email from T. Streeter. He did in the chat say he sent a producer payment to commemorate becoming a knight. So, T. Streeter, if you have reached knighthood at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames by producing the show for the amount of $1,000 or more, that's all at once, or overtime, if that is the case, send us your accounting, let us know, and we will be happy to put you on the knight list and give you a formal knighting here on the show.
Yeah, T. Streeter. I'm trying to see how it's spelled here. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
thank you very much.
Send us an email. Show us what you got, and we will do it. And, of course, send us your knight name, how you would like to be commemorated. All right, that concludes our list of financial producers over the amount of $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But our streakers, the consistent and faithful streakers who come in under that amount, oh, they're here. You know they're here. We're starting out with producer Dr. Who Done Dat. 42 episode streak.
Hey.
Carry this message to Hiram a bit. Come on, boys and girls.
That's right. Those who are up to date on their deep Freemason lore will get that reference. Thank you, Dr. Who Done Dat.
Yep, thank you.
Next up, we got Sir Morv, Night of the Burning Chariots, 317 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Morv.
Veronica D, 346.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Dame Gale, 340.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 371.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Then, of course, Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
386 in a row. Thank you to all of our financial producers who are keeping us going this January. And if anybody out there, you are starting your year off, you're making changes in your life, you are getting ready to start your workout program. You promised you were going to start this Monday. You can still do that. There's still time. Be patient. But perhaps you have a commitment to become a part of something bigger than yourself. That's this show. That's this community. That's this movement that the rest of the world just happens to be catching up to. You can become a producer with your time, your talent, or your treasure by going to canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support.
Yup. And you know who else is rocking and rolling in this 2024, Gons?
Flippy.
Oh, wait. Cancel.
Oh,
Stop.
Okay. Cancel
we have
Flippy.
a very important message from Sir Ike.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes. Thank God.
Hey, Canary family, Sir Ike here. I just wanted to give everybody another update on the Missouri meetup tomorrow. Due to the weather that is due to come in that day, I'm going to have to cancel that meetup. If anybody has any questions on that, please contact me directly at canarycrysupply.drop@gmail.com, and I would be happy to answer those. Thanks.
They turned on HARP to prevent
That's
the Canary Cry meetup. I won't stand for this.
They fired
I
up
need
the
answers.
weather machine. There's sort of an apocalyptic blizzard apparently coming into Missouri, which will make it very unsafe for travel, so we don't want any Canarians out on the road. Unfortunately, the Jefferson City Canary Cry meetup and Knock and Shock, that's what it's called.
Knock and Shock.
It needs to be postponed, but Sir Ike will be keeping us up to date on the scheduling. If you are a Missouri Canarian, if you are a Canarian in or around Missouri, send Sir Ike an email at canarycrysupply.drop.com. Nope, canarycrysupply.drop@gmail.com. And get in touch, because the Missouri Canarians, they are mobilizing, baby, and you should get involved.
Yep.
All right, now it's time for Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. Time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new fun and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update. We're going big picture, folks. Of course, Flippy, the robotic arm who first was flipping burgers and then went to space, got his graduate degree, did all these things, taken over the world. The robotic arm, the symbol of the propaganda of robots encroaching into our everyday lives, reinventing what it means to be a human. Of course, there's a bigger picture, and that is Google writing a robot constitution to make sure its new AI droids won't kill us. Look, Gons, the idea of a constitution worked pretty well for America. It's a little bit shaky recently. Turns out it doesn't matter what you write on a piece of paper if nobody's reading what you wrote on that piece of paper, but that's for another podcast. But Google coming in as a sort of governmental, mythical, moral setting figure.
Yeah. I like how it's just kind of declaring themselves the arbiters of
it truly
robot
is.
governance. We shall name the rules.
They might as well be setting up a big obelisk and calling it the Google Monument as the forefather of the robotic future. This is coming from The Verge. It says here, the DeepMind robotics team has revealed 3 new advances that it says will help robots make faster, better, and safer decisions in the wild. One includes a system for gathering training data with a robot constitution to make sure your robot office assistant can fetch you more printer paper, but without mowing down a human coworker who happens to be in the way. Google's data gathering system, love it, AutoRT, can use a visual language model, VLM, and large language model, LLM, working hand in hand to understand its environment, adapt to unfamiliar settings, and decide on appropriate tasks. The robot...
Is this Putin? AutoRT? Is that like a Putin robot infiltration?
Kind of got like a, Auto Russia Today. It's also kind of looks and sounds like autocrat. The robot constitution, which is inspired by Isaac Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics, is described as a set of, quote, safety-focused prompts, instructing the LLM to avoid choosing tasks that involve humans, animals, sharp objects, and even electrical appliances. So, calling it a robotic constitution is less, it feels less like a constitution for those who are making robots or controlling robots or whatever, and more like a piece of code. For additional safety, DeepMind programmed the robots to stop automatically if the force on its joints goes past a certain threshold, and included a physical kill switch human operators can use to deactivate them. I hope that's what that kill switch does. It could really go either way with a kill switch. Over a period of 7 months, Google deployed a fleet of 53 AutoRT robots in 4 different office buildings and conducted over 77,000 trials. Some robots were controlled remotely by human operators, while others operated either based on a script or completely autonomously, using Google's Robotic Transformer, RT2, AI learning model. They have a little flow chart here if you wanted to learn more about that. The robots used in the trial look more utilitarian than flashy, equipped with only a camera, robot arm, and mobile base. Quote, for each robot, the system uses a VLM to understand its environment and the objects within sight. Next, an LLM suggests a list of creative tasks that the robot could carry out, such as, quote, place the snack onto the countertop, and plays the role of decision maker to select an appropriate task for the robot to carry out. So this is an interesting bit of it. The droids that are first being equipped with this robot constitution, they are simply a robotic arm on wheels with a camera for eyeballs. Now, we've focused, Gons, on the robotic arm, Flippy. And, of course, there's all sorts of robots doing all sorts of tasks, but it's almost mythical in how important the robotic arm specifically is to this entire project. Of course, the arm as sort of a symbol of doing, a symbol of a surrogate for a human arm, the thing with which we work, and to create this sort of monolith. I mean, it really looks like a monolith. It's a sort of square base with wheels, one pole sticking up with a robotic arm on the top of it. It is almost like occultishly symbolic of the movement. Yeah, into not just our future, but like into the core of how we understand the universe. Like, oh, I use my arm to articulate my hand and make change in the world. Well, now I don't do that, or I can't do that, because this robot arm on wheels, rolling around, smarter than me, faster than me, is now taking control. DeepMind's other new tech includes Sara RT and neural network architecture, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. We still seem to be a very long way from robots that serve drinks and fluff pillows autonomously. I don't think so, Verge, but okay. But when they're available, they may have learned from a system like AutoRT. So Google just kind of set free a bunch of flippies into some buildings. And of course, there's an interesting GIF here, which is kind of boring, but also pretty symbolic. You have the robot arm. It's a view from the top of the robot arm, which is what the robot is seeing. And you see the arm reaching out and sort of delicately rearranging pillows on a couch. And you think, okay, that's kind of boring. What's the big deal? I mean, he's looking down at a couch. It's reaching out and very gently, gingerly, and very, subtly moving these pillows around. And consider that the robot arm is thinking about, aesthetics. He's thinking sort of creatively about aesthetics of the placement of these pillows, taking into consideration the comfort and utility of the pillow for human beings, and taking some, being very focused on the project. When was the last time you were so focused on rearranging pillows, Gons? Perhaps never.
Oh, my wife would probably enjoy this more than me in terms of a clean couch, nice pillows lined up.
Well, now she can have it, and she doesn't even have to do it herself.
She won't have to yell at me about it anymore. She can yell at the robot.
Right.
Auto
so
RT.
It's going to make both of your lives better. It's a very strong signal, I think. It seems, as we know, Google employs lots of very smart people, and indeed even occult priests to work on their AI projects here.
Yeah.
And I think this GIF of the arranging pillows, I mean, I see it as a very powerful signal that they're sending. You might be tempted to think that, oh, this is just a random clip that they pulled out, but it's showing the delicacy, it's showing it in a domestic situation, and it's showing the care and attention that the robot is putting towards something that only a human could benefit from, the arrangement of pillows on a couch. I think that this is a very strong signal and sort of a conglomeration of all the types of analysis that we've been keeping an eye out for on the Flippy update. I think this is closer than we think, Guns.
Well, the Flippy arm, the arm in general, you got your strength logo, it just represents, like you said, the ability to do work. There's some moral fortitude built into the concept of, a fist or an arm. Yeah. But also I would say that as the demons enter our realm, it's like they're reaching their arm through first, and then like making sure we're fine. We're not going to hurt anybody. Well, a couple people we might hurt, but for the most part, we're just here to, help you out with the arrangements of pillows on the couch. The most mundane type of stuff, though, it's not. I mean, there are obviously, we've seen robot arms and varied magnificent, extravagant things that they're doing, but going in space and all this kind of stuff. But in terms of just the mundane, I think that's where the robots are going to enter into the homes. It's not going to be so much this crazy stuff. Like, think about the robot vacuum. Very mundane, kind of a chore. It's more of, hey, we're going to alleviate you from having to do stuff. And man, that's the trap, isn't it?
Yep.
It takes 2 seconds to arrange pillows on a couch, but let the robot arm do it.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. It's very powerful. Yeah. All right, there's your Flippy update for the day, folks.
Okay, let's move on. We have a World War III update here that I want to dive into.
And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
Armageddon's on the way.
And we're going to start it off here just as a quick note. We have producers sending links to us all the time. It actually started with producer Jam, and producer Jam has been sending us almost without fail a list of links to consider, a list of articles to consider for the show, almost every show. Yeah. And a few episodes ago, about a month ago, actually, he started sending us some stuff about Venezuela and its conflict with Guyana. Now, at first glance, I'm kind of like, what's the, okay, another territory, another kind of conflict or whatever. But it really does, as I looked into it, it was like, okay, this is another prong or another spoke in the wheel of World War III, where really it's all these regions having conflict, rearranging border lines, all kinds of stuff based on resources. It's your traditional type of warfare going on, but for the West and how it's going to be used, I think it's a topic that we're going to hear more about in the coming months, maybe years, depending on how things work out. But it's just another one of those situations where you have a clear team. You have Team East and Team West that we've talked about before with the context of World War III. So just to kick things off, This is from December 5th. Now, Basil, I had to go to the archive to get this because the link itself was dead to ABC. So I don't know if you can get that link. The actual article link itself was dead for me. Can you check it out? ABC News.
Yeah, let me check real quick here. Come on.
The headline is Maduro orders the immediate exploitation of oil, gas, and mines in Guyana's Essequibo.
No, it's dead for me. I'm going to go ahead and check the Wayback Machine.
I have the Wayback. I have the Wayback link there on the archive.
No, yeah. They took it down.
Yeah, they took this down. So interesting in itself that they took it down. So yeah, in this article, it just mentions how Maduro, the president of Venezuela, on Tuesday, this is back in December, directed the country's state-owned companies to, quote, immediately begin to explore and exploit the oil, gas, and mines in Guyana's Essequibo region, a territory larger than Greece and rich in oil and minerals that Venezuela claims as its own. So, okay, this is about natural resources.
Yeah,
CNN,
old school geopolitical stuff here.
I know. It's great. This is a throwback. It's a throwback. It's not about.
They're not even pretending to be hunting down terrorists to take this oil. They're just like, we want the oil. Give it to
straight up. Yeah. Let's see. December 6th, CNN reported Venezuela's president orders creation of new state and map, including land from Guyana. So from my understanding, about 2/3 of this territory is considered Guyana. And there's some history behind it here. There was an article from the nationalinterest.org with the headline, Mark Twain would understand the Venezuela versus Guyana crisis. Of course, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. It's sort of the takeaway from Mark Twain's ideas there. But the National Interest actually is I think it was Reagan who started this outlet in the 80s or something. So it's like one of these intel geopolitical mags. So it's a good article, but I don't want to necessarily read that. What I want to read is from Bloomberg, mirrored on Yahoo. This was published on January 2nd. And the headline here is Why Venezuela Deployed Troops to Guyana Border. And here's what it says. Bloomberg, Venezuela. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not showing this on screen. Bloomberg, Venezuela and Guyana have disagreed over their common border for well over a century. That disagreement has grown far more tense since large deposits of oil were found in the contested Essequibo region. In early December, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced plans to annex the Essequibo, covering roughly 2/3 of Guyana's territory. A few days later, Maduro and Guyana's President Arifan Ali met and agreed not to use force to resolve the dispute. While the arrival of a British Royal Navy warship for joint exercise with Guyana prompted Maduro to deploy over 5,000 soldiers and numerous vessels and planes to his country's east coast, Venezuela's defense minister said he pulled back troops after the warship withdrew. And some more, flexing going on here. Leaders from across the continent, where political instability is common, but armed conflict between countries is historically rare, are seeking to de-escalate the dispute. Okay. And then there's a little bit more detail here. This is what is the fight about? Maduro's threats focus on drilling rights granted by Guyana to big oil companies in the Atlantic Ocean north of Essequibo, a 61,600 square mile area both nations claim as their own. It's a 616. The majority of Guyana's discovered oil riches are located mainly in the Stabroek block. I'm probably saying that wrong, where ExxonMobil Corp discovered 11 billion barrels of offshore resources, the biggest find of the past decade. The conglomerate led by Exxon actually produces all of Guyana's oil export, which amounts to about 333,000 barrels. Yeah. And maybe that's a signal too. Divide that by 3, that's 111,000. It's just binary. Of oil a day in November, or 2/3 of Venezuela's output. Revenues from these exports are set to grow to 7.5 billion in 2030 from 1 billion last year. It goes into some more details about the plan here. And it goes into a whole background, and we don't have to go through the whole history. It is somewhat interesting with all the things that have taken place. But I want to focus more on the implications here because, the Guyana is sort of the proxy for the West and UK specifically, but also the United States along with that. And Venezuela is considered authoritarian, and they are siding with China and Russia.
Yeah,
And
they've
they're on
aligned
Team
in
East.
recent years with the China-Russia bloc.
Yes, because they're
And-
sort of rogue from westernization. So to
Right.
speak. They're sanctioned.
After we
Killed
economically
them.
assassinated
Killed
their
yes.
economy
Yeah.
and crashed
that's that's something I wanted to point out, is that it's anytime with this sort of conflict, with a land grab type of situation, it's always never the way in which media reports it, because media will report it biasly in one way or the other. So when it comes to Venezuela, they're making it sound, the mainstream in the West will obviously say, Venezuela, the authoritarian government trying to take over Guyana. But again, from the perspective of Venezuela, their entire economy has been absolutely demolished. And a lot of that had to do with the US dollar and, the economic hitman type of stuff, right? That's what Venezuela suffered from. And so I can understand their leader trying to figure out ways to, find some resources that can generate income and generate support.
Desperation. I mean,
desperation,
it's true,
yeah.
like national desperation.
Yeah. So that makes sense from their perspective. Of course, from the perspective of the West, it's, hey, Guyana, the council and I forget what it was, and like the some decades ago determined that the area in question is owned by Guyana. And so, this is a sort of a Putin situation, in South America, where Putin's trying to take over Ukraine. Same thing. Venezuela's trying to take over Guyana. So there's a parallel there, but it is old world. It is sort of a fourth generation warfare type of thing going on. But again, very interesting in that World War III, I feel like we are already, we've been on this trajectory of violence breaking out all over the world for different purposes. And then as those regional conflicts emerge, the associated nations, the powers, all have to step in or at least flex or do something. And, that's been escalating. So it's just another wave, I guess, another topic to pay attention to. And this all has to do with the Southern Hemisphere, which I also think is interesting.
Yeah, it's a very interesting addition to the series of weirdness going on in the world. I mean, to have one country just blatantly invading for the purposes of resource capture, without even the sort of what's the word? I don't know, the facade.
The facade, the veneer of other things going on, like terrorist
Right.
groups and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's too complex.
Is very interesting. And Guyana is actually part of the Commonwealth countries, of 56 or so countries that are no longer ruled by the UK, but are, still associated with the UK.
Yeah.
And so I think they did call on the UK Navy to come by and save them. I don't know what the update on that is.
Yeah. So the timing of it, I'm not 100% on the timing of everything that unfolded. But yeah, like I read earlier, the two presidents met and they're like, all right, we'll try to be peaceful. And then the Guyana president was like, all right, let me call the UK force just to kind of do a drill, right?
It's really interesting because when it comes to the UK, when it comes to Gaza, Israel, when it comes to even Taiwan and China, the foundation of all of these things is resources.
Yeah.
It's oil, it's wheat, it's transportation, what's the word?
Supply chains.
Supply chains, right. It's very sort of foundational when it comes to geopolitics. Resources. We want the resources.
Yeah.
And, in most of those cases, you've got this narrative being told about it, which is just a convenient way to get the job done without having to say, yeah, we're breaking the rules of the liberal world order. This is not a rules-based world. We need the resources. We need the land. We need the stuff. But for Venezuela to just straight up be like, no, yeah, we're doing the same thing everybody else is doing. I don't know. It's not really.
Well, you guys are doing it.
Or,
you guys are doing it, and you guys seem to be pulling it off pretty well. So
yeah, it's very sort of revelatory of the rest of what's going on in the world, which I wonder if it will sort of inspire depending on what the feedback is with Venezuela's actions, I wonder if it will sort of inspire other countries to sort of just tell the truth about these things, which is, hey, the liberal world rules-based order that we claim to be a part of is entirely fabricated. It's an invented system to keep the U.S. and the West at the top of the food chain. And, we just don't really need to deal with it. We don't need to, have some sort of imaginary narrative for our geopolitical conflicts. I wonder if that might inspire either other countries to do similar things, or maybe give some permission to the U.S. and others to sort of stop lying. Like, oh, we don't need to lie. We don't need to build a narrative. I don't know. What are they going to do anyways?
It's part of it is financial too, because you got to spend the money to do stuff, and then you get all this funding, and then you got to spend it. So spin up a terrorist group, whatever it might be, to like make the whole thing more intricate, confusing. People can track it, make it into a story. That kind of thing is probably part of it too. But I think one of the implications for this as well is the US dollar, because the US dollar is, technically it's the petrodollar. Mm-hmm. And with Guyana being one of the, not the, but one of the major sort of exporters, oil exporters for the US, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if they lose Guyana, oil prices are going to go up. Talk about inflation. It won't be an inflation type of thing as a whole, but in terms of oil prices, it could mess with the US dollar. So that's sort of what's at stake from the Western perspective.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Did you see something about Guyana's oil exports?
Yeah, I did some research and tried to find some stuff about it. And yeah, they have emerged as a significant player. Yeah, they've become, and because of this whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Guyana's oil exports double, with Europe taking half of the cargoes. Yeah, so it's a Western market thing. I'm seeing a lot of European markets here. This could very easily expand into some
this is
real
also
boots on the ground situation for the U.S.
This could also be, because of the economic stuff going on, the sort of the beginnings of the actual implementation of a BRICS type of system, where you need more catalysts with that. The countries are all sort of like, yeah, we'll do the BRICS thing, and yeah, we're moving in that direction. But you got to have like stuff happen. You got to like have actual kinetic stuff go down.
This is interesting. I wonder if there would be an angle for the U.S. to actually inspire this move by Venezuela to cut oil exports to Europe from Guyana, so that we can.
So that we can either take it or. Yeah.
The Nord Stream pipeline was a godsend to U.S. LP exporters. Mm-hmm. We now supply almost all of Europeans' natural gas, I believe. Yeah, and I'm seeing here January 2023, Guyana oil exports set to surge in coming years. Guyana's oil production is expected to continue rising in 23 after a third production facility is installed. Yeah, so they're getting all their new construction facilities, or their oil facilities. Oil exports from the country are expected to reach 810,000 barrels per day by 2025. Ooh. Yeah, this was an obvious move.
So this is one of these topics where it's not super mainstream yet, but I could see it becoming an issue, being politicized, and they'll figure out how to politicize it. And right now everyone's occupied with pro-Palestine marches and stopping freeways and stuff. So
yeah,
they can't jump on this yet, but I'm sure this will unfold at some point.
The economic hitmen and the American intelligence community has done such a great job of bringing down Venezuela in the first place. It would not surprise me if there was an operation to inspire Venezuela to put boots on the ground in Guyana so that the West or the U.S. will have a reason to put boots down in Guyana ourselves and take sort of control of the oil exports for national security. This might just be the invitation for the West to come occupy Guyana for protection, but then to solidify all of these humongous exports that are going to start this year and next year.
So the latest on this is that, according to Stabrock News, senior U.S. defense official to visit, that's a U.S. Deputy Secretary of Defense for the Western Hemisphere at the U.S. Department of Defense, Daniel P. Erickson, will travel to Guyana from January 8th through 9th. That's right now. A statement today from the U.S. Embassy said DASD Erickson is responsible for U.S. defense and security policy for the 34-nation region that encompasses Canada, Mexico, Caribbean, yada, yada, yada. His visit to Guyana underscores the continued importance the U.S. places on the U.S.-Guyana bilateral defense and security partnership in support of regional stability, the statement said.
Oh, yeah. Boots on the ground. American boots on the ground in Guyana. That's what this is.
We got the Guyana Defense Force, the GDF, and the Caribbean community, the CARICOM, and meeting with the DoD
US
and
Defense Security.
Let's go. Yeah, give us the lasers.
Figured it out. Thanks, Venezuela.
Yeah, there you go.
For the invitation.
Yeah, very interesting. Something to keep in mind as part of the, because you and I have this American myopic thing. We are stuck in not stuck, but we're in America, so we tend to think as sort of a natural reaction. We've been taught, the other countries, those third world, that's less important than what's happening here. But really, these things matter in the bigger picture, especially in World War III. So
it's the conglomeration of little conflicts like this that the U.S. is invited to get involved with, or we invite ourselves to get involved with. This is the reason that the American lifestyle is what it is. It's because our country has executed dozens of these small little things to secure barrel by barrel the oil that it takes for the U.S. economy to continue and to prop up the petrodollar and the whole sort of globalized system.
It's funny though, because I thought we're going electric, man. I thought no more oil. After 2027 or whatever it is. What happened to that whole deal?
I know, the revelation of the method, man. It's it's confusing when these leaders don't act in the way that they tell us to act. Okay, well, along with that, just a quick note here. Let's see, she be practicing witchcraft around there or something?
This girl must be practicing witchcraft.
Yeah, just a couple of cult things popping up in the media
just
here.
a couple of cult, yeah.
Just a couple things. This comes from livescience.com, just kind of an interesting thing. Medieval curse tablets summoning Satan discovered at the bottom of a latrine in Germany. Okay, sure. Archaeologists in Germany have discovered a rolled-up piece of lead that they think could be a medieval curse tablet that invokes Beelzebub. Or Satan. Upon first glance, the researchers thought the inconspicuous piece of metal was simply scrap, since it was found at the bottom of a latrine at a construction site in Rostock, a city in northern Germany, according to a translated statement. However, according to a translated statement, you can just look on a map. However, once they unfurled it, archaeologists realized that the 15th century artifact contained a cryptic message etched in Gothic minuscule that was barely visible to the naked eye. It read, quote, Sathanas taliki Belzebuk Henrik Berith. Oh gosh, did I speak that out loud? I probably shouldn't have. Researchers deciphered the text as a curse that was directed towards a woman named Taliki and a man named Henrik. and summoned Beelzebub, another name for Satan, and Berith, a demonic spirit. While researchers may never know who these people were, they did offer some ideas for the reasoning behind the bad blood. Did someone want to break up Tiliki and Henrik's relationship? Was this about spurned love and jealousy? Should someone be put out of the way? Oh, the researchers asked in a statement. Archaeologists said the finding was unique, especially since similar curse tablets are actually known from ancient times in the Greek and Roman regions from 800 BC to AD 600. Georg Anzorg, an archaeologist with the University of Greifswald in Germany, who led the excavation, said in a statement, for instance, a 1,500-year-old lead tablet inscribed in Greek and found in what is now Israel calls on demons to harm a rival dancer, while 2,400-year-old tablets found in Greece asked the underworld gods to target several tavern keepers. I thought this was very interesting because they have this tablet in Israel summoning demons to harm a rival dancer. And I think considering the sort of occult, culture, at least in U.S. entertainment industries. I mean, you're always seeing, of course, we've got Beyonce and Lady Gaga all dressing up like the priestess and the goddess.
The dance-off culture.
Yeah, all this, yeah, sure, dances, breakdancing culture, whatever it is. The occult influence in entertainment culture apparently goes back 1,500 years. Where
Nothing new under the sun, Basil. Nothing new under the sun.
You've got ancient people in Israel, ancient entertainers in Israel calling on the power of Satan to harm a rival dancer. And again, even further, interesting connection, 2,400-year-old tablets found in Greece asked the underworld gods to target several tavern keepers. You have business to business. And, we've broken down the sort of occult things within business, not only the sort of economic magic, but sigil magic and logos. And, it's been a constant eye roll for people when it comes to the occult influence in pretty much everything. Here we go again. All the conspiracy theorists talking about the occults and the entertainment industry and in business. But you can see here that it's a tradition spanning 2,400 years at least. Quote, our discovery, on the other hand, can be dated to the 15th century. He said, this is a truly very special find. Researchers weren't surprised to find the artifact at the bottom of a latrine, considering that curse tablets, quote, were placed where they were difficult or impossible to find by those who have been cursed, according to the statement. I guess you have to hide the tablet from the, keep it secret from the person you're trying to curse, of course. So just some interesting history to back up what we've been talking about going on in modern day enterprises.
I mean, we live in such crazy times because, for most of human history, you had tablets that were, they were etching this stuff in there.
Yeah.
And now we still have tablets, but we're just,
the
other
iPad.
things with it. Yeah, the iPad. Maybe that's why maybe that's why it worked. The whole screen thing. We've been doing it for centuries.
Probably. The tablets has been a big part of it. While we're at it, this is coming from the marysue.com, and the headline is, I'm obsessed with this card game based on legendary British occultists. Yay! So, kind of, again, little connection here. Tarot cards, we all are aware of that, and their now popularity on TikTok and with young people across the world. Tarot cards began, I'm not going to go into the whole history of tarot cards right now. We've done that before, and surely we'll do it again. But the connection between playing cards and tarot cards is sort of inextricable and fairly well known, and the connection of sort of scrying and game playing has always been a big part of the occult communities as well. And here we go. We got an occult card game. Whee! With witchcraft and occultism going mainstream in a big way. It's a good time to be a fan of the mystical and macabre. It's a good time to be a fan.
Good time.
Guys.
Yeah, good time. Good time. All right.
Case in point, if you've ever wanted to go to play Go Fish with an occult and folk horror themed deck, you can now do so. Hellebore, a zine and small press that explores British occultism in history and fiction, has released a game called The Magical Card Battle of Britain. In terms of actual gameplay, the game is pretty easy. In the Magic Families mode, each player tries to gather as many matching sets of cards as possible. In the Magical Card Battle of Britain mode, each player tries to score the highest number of points based on the card's attributes.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's not a super complex game, Gons. You
Yeah,
won't
I
spend
know,
a
but
lot
it's
of
funny.
time scrutinizing lots of arcane rules or building super strategic decks. Really, it seems like the game is just a creative way of exploring some fascinating aspects of British occultism.
They
And I'm
have
okay with that, the author says.
The little picture, the screen or the image here they have of the deck.
Yeah.
They have the clicks card. Interesting. The title is clicks.
Yeah.
And it's Baphomet worshippers, and there's a picture of Baphomet and then like some people in front of him in robes. And it says, these satanic cultists operate in the open spaces of Salisbury Plain, where they summon the power of darkness and dance until the goat of Mendes graces them with its presence.
Yeah, see?
So there you go.
What a fun family game. The 36-card deck is divided into 9 families. Occultists, scholars, charmers, enchantresses, witches and witchfinders, eliques, ritual objects, visions, and magical sites. Some cards,
different parts of the body.
That's
different roles for different parts of the body.
Some cards, like occultists, are real people. There's a card for the infamous Aleister Crowley, the ceremonial magician who founded Thelema. Aleister's stats in the game include a 7 in infamy, accurate, and a 3 in mystique. I'd rank him higher. Other cards, like Charmers, are based on fictional characters, like Lord Summerisle from The Wicker Man. Some of my other favorite cards include Dion Fortune, one of the early 20th century occultists who helped shape modern Wicca and witchcraft, and the Hand of Glory, an old spell that used the pickled hand of a criminal to supposedly open doors and paralyze people. Wow, so utilitarian. You can open doors and paralyze people. The author writes, I'm crossing my fingers that Hellebore releases an expansion pack someday. Woohoo! After all, there's plenty more magic and folk horror out there to choose from. In fact, Hellebore explores some of it in its Guide to Occult Britain, etc., etc., etc. Oh, it does say, plus I bet some enterprising witch out there could use this deck for divination.
Ah, there it is. That's what everyone was wondering.
Yeah,
Yes.
You can use it for
Yes,
divination.
you can use it for divination. Of course, dual purpose, entertain, and magic.
That's the key. That's the key to all this. Now,
Gamified.
I think it's interesting that we find this not only the specific deck, but also the trend of sort of gamifying the occult going on, kind of at a similar time that we've been working on the Legends of the Canarium card set that's been going out with the supply drop. Every supply dropper's been getting a Canary Cry themed playing card for a game that will appear sometime in the future. And also Sir Ike from the supply drop has been working hard on a sort of Canary Cry or more sort of conspiracy theory themed party game for families that will will also, when it is finished and tested and everything, of course, will show up in the supply drop as well. So there's some themes here going on. We got to keep our eye on it, Gons.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about this. I was showing the card. Oh, the article at the top here, the subtitle is finally a card game featuring Druidic aliens
Druidic.
I was having trouble saying it. Druidic alien cults and John Dee. Of course, John Dee. I talked about John Dee in Age of Deceit 2, Alchemy and the Rise of the Beast Image. And he was the one that came up with the Enochian language. He was doing his whole thing for the Queen Elizabeth. He was sort of the translator, and him and Edward Kelly, who was the medium, channeled alleged entities or beings, and he was given the Enochian language, and it's this highly complex magical language, apparently. So, yeah, not much has changed. You got occult tablets trying to put, it's all for utility, though. I think that's what's most interesting about occultism is there is a practical utility, a function, something that they're trying to accomplish. It's never just whimsical, and maybe it is for guys like John Dee, but even then it had to do with trying to help the Queen do stuff, right? Because the Queen,
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's all very much for a purpose. I mean, whether it's a game or entertainment is sort of just a part of the puzzle of occultism, and that's what a lot of people are just coming to realize.
Right. Well, the modern the adoption of occultism for the masses was going to happen through entertainment, regardless. That is the vehicle. But yeah, in terms of making it useful, it's a whole nother thing. So having card games like this out there, this is a great way for the occultists to evangelize themselves. Like, yeah, it's a game, but also you can use it for your whatever, your hexes on your neighbor or something like that.
Anything if you're a chaos magician.
That's true. You're right. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Good stuff. Let's
Speaking of which,
we'll keep an eye.
Take a second and thank some producers and check out some cool art and stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. We're going to thank some producers for their talent. We operate value for value, and that means we don't take any advertisements. We don't hire people to do anything.
We probably should.
We probably should, actually. We might
but
end up hiring some people
who want to put value back into the show, and a lot of times they're very talented and very hardworking and believe in the project, and we're very grateful to them.
Yes, and these are people that are getting value out of the show, and so they want to provide value back, and they're doing so in ways that are not treasure. So we're going to start with talent. I mean, I say that because I think for most people, it's like, okay, I want to support something. Let me throw some cash at it. Here's a few bucks. But it's another thing to be like, hey, I'm going to create a piece of art or create a piece of music.
That's the whole thing. Time and talent are like equally as valuable. It's all valuable.
Yeah, it's almost, no, I'm not going to say more, but there is a different type of value that comes with it. It helps us shape the culture behind the community.
It's irreplaceable is what it is.
It is,
We couldn't pay to get someone to create a piece of art that is so intrinsically connected to the culture of the show.
Right.
It's when artists are putting their experience with the show and the community on paper through their art. There's no way to pay a random artist to do that.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with some audio production here.
Audio production.
And I think I need to catch up on a couple of these from last episode, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to kick it off with Marty B. Where's my Marty B jingle? I always lose the Marty B jingle. Oh, no, that's a Marty B song.
Marty B sent something in. Oh,
yeah, he did.
I missed that.
Yeah, he said this is not a cover. I just borrowed the title with this song and a song by Lil Owen that I think is called Trouble, or maybe it's part of the title. Thanks, Marty B. So this is called Onward, Christian Soldier.
Onward, Christian soldier, time to take a stand. Upward, Christian soldier, march to the promised land.
I like it. It's chunky.
Sweet.
It's chunky. I like it.
Yeah, we'll play that at the end of the show during the Canary Crime mixtape. Stick around for that.
Yep. We got a lot of tracks we're playing at the end of the show today, so stick around, folks, because we're going to do the whole thing. Appreciate it, Marty B. Thank you very much. We also have something from Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
And he sends Fetterman Flubbin. Hello, just a little Fetterman chaos.
Then Fetterman says that
the joke is on you. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying.
the man is eventually escorted out by police as he tells the senator to go home.
Oh my gosh. That's very exciting.
Yeah, it's so Fetterman's been making the news apparently recently. He really angered Cenk Uygur. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I always say it wrong. Cenk, the Young Turks, the guy. Cenk Uygur, guy who yells. He's sort of like the liberal Alex Jones type. The headline from Mediaite is "What the bleep? Progressive Cenk Uygur absolutely trashes fraud Fetterman over Harvard Israel and turning into a Republican." Fetterman's turning into a Republican, dude.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why is he saying that? I don't understand.
So Cenk is mad because Fetterman is making Republican talking points, apparently. But hey, man, he had a stroke. He doesn't know what's going on.
That's very strange. Okay. Yeah. Cenk is losing his mind.
I think
he's running for president, you know.
Cenk is?
Yes, he's running for president.
Why?
Nobody really knows. It's very strange. And there's a lot of questions about whether he's even eligible because he has some naturalization things in his citizenship. I'm not exactly positive 100% of the details, but yeah. But he's going for it.
Okay. It must be a desperate publicity thing to keep him
I don't know.
relevant.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's going to get a lot of publicity. He runs the Young Turks, which is an OG internet news show that was at one point the most popular internet news show. I mean, I was watching the Young Turks when I was like in high school or something, before even having an internet news show was a thing.
Right.
And very liberal. There was a point there where I think they took $20 million from the Democrats, and they were pretty much just been in operation ever since. But I find it pretty insufferable. It's really hard to watch or listen to.
I haven't watched in a while, and yeah, he was sort of like a liberal Alex Jones type. He's yelling constantly, getting mad, slamming his fist on the, confronting people backstage, stuff like that. So he was pretty big. I remember about 10 years ago, but yeah, good to hear from Cenk and Fetterman, the cyborg senator. Thank you very much, Jonathan F. We're going to do some art now.
One art, please.
And we're going to kick it off with Sir Dove, Knight of Raspeltia.
One art, please, from Dove.
And Dove sends a note. Let me actually go full screen for the art here for those watching. Peace. For today's artwork, I made a flyer for the Missouri. Oh, no, that's the wrong note. That was from last episode. Yes, he made I think we talked about that one. Peace. For this week's Bible artwork, I did an illustration for Psalm 42:1 as the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul longs after you, O God. Coincidentally, drew this one up a couple weeks ago, the day the Stag's Undead episode aired. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you.
Yeah, that coincidence just keeps coming. This is great. We've got a background photo. Oh, goodness gracious. My computer is going absolutely bonkers. Well, let's see if I can do it from memory. It's a photo of a peaceful sort of lake scene, and in the foreground, we've got a beautifully drawn little doe in the style of Sir Dove, of course, looking very, a little bit derpy-eyed, but very cute. And in the sky, we've got, in classic Dove text, it says, as the deer pants for the streams of water. And the water font is very watery, folks.
Glistening.
Don't know how to say it. It's watery font. Very good. Thank you so much, Sir Dove. And remember, in the supply drop last year, we actually had a whole book of Bible artwork from Sir Dove, like a coffee table book, go out. And there is a version 2, I think, that he is selling on. I forget what he's selling. We boosted that link for quite some time. I should go find out, and I need to plug it when we think Sir Dove.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Appreciate it. And we're gonna move on here to Sir. Wait, are we doing Sir Darren? Oh yes, we are. Sir Darren. He says, congratulations to Basil on his new body. Evidently, he has a blossoming career in the fitness industry. Don't miss out on Basil's incredible fitness journey and stunning physique. Achieve the coveted Basil body for just 4 easy payments of $33.33. Get inspired and jumpstart your transformation journey today. Don't wait. Join the movement towards your fitness goals now.
This is hilarious. This is, you know what, Sir Darren, the irony and satire by which he approaches all of these very professional marketing things that he does for us is so satisfying. Oh, so satisfying. You can also see this on Twitter. He made a post. We've been sharing it around. And yes, it is in the style of like an old 90s, maybe even 80s infomercial that would come on in the middle of the night, as you're falling asleep to the television, and you'd get, some advertisements or infomercial for the VHS fitness set that's going to change your life. And this one's called Body by Basil. Energize yourself. And we got a VHS here in the middle of the ad with an absolutely ludicrous looking, 90s fitness man pointing at the camera. He's got lightning shooting all around his body.
Basil?
Yeah, of course, he's got his virtual headset on, his VR headset with his googly eyes on the front. He's got his CCNT logo on his shirt there. It says CCNT home video stereo. It's really incredible.
Tooth gap.
Got the great tooth gap. Got the whole thing. Of course, it's this color combination of the blue, the like bright blue of infomercials, and yellow back in the day. It says the patient fitness program over 3 years long, 33 fitness routines. Get swole with Canary Cries, Body by Basil. Energize yourself. And then we got some quotes here. Quote, my muscles are huge. Quote, this is all or Nephilim. You'll be an apocalypse warlord in no time. Only $33.33. Just 4 easy payments. Save 33%. Order today. And then we got a little QR code down there. I've not followed the QR code. I assume it goes to canarycry.support or perhaps canarycrysupply.com. Thank you very much, Sir Darren. You never cease to amaze and entertain us.
Thank you very much, Sir Darren. We have one more piece here from Pizza Rat. And Pizza Rat, there's no note. This is just catching up on the series of art that he's sent us. And this one is a rendition of Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia.
Oh, yeah, this is very good. Pulling it up. There it is. Okay. Yeah, we have a sort of grizzled old warlord looking man. He's balding on the top, but his gigantic white beard and head of hair and eyebrows are truly majestic. He's wearing some rust-colored armor here with big shoulder pads with spikes. Very good-looking biceps and triceps. This guy is absolutely shredded. And on the breastplate of his armor, he's got the shield that appears on the seal of Canary Cry News Talk there. And he's got a gigantic sword on his back. And it says here, Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia. And as always, we've got the Pizza Rat signature down in the bottom left. I think spiritually this might be reminiscent of Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia. I've never seen Sir Dove, but from what I can gather, I'm not sure he's a grizzled old warlord man. but maybe spiritually, this is representative of the masculine assertiveness that he brings and wisdom to his art for the show. Thank you very much, Pizza Rat.
Thank you, Pizza Rat. I'd like to believe that spiritually we are all just swole, gray-haired entities.
I think you're starting to feel like that on the inside, Gons, which means you're coming into alignment with your vibe.
My vibe, yeah. All right, we got some microfiction here. Here we go.
Microfiction.
Time.
Microfiction.
We're gonna kick it off with Wrong Smash.
Wrong Smash.
Oh no! Sorry, do-over.
Okay.
Do-over. My whole entire computer is being super glitchy, and everything moves extremely slowly. So I was still scrolling. I thought I could make it, but I didn't make it. But now I have made it, and it's going to be great. Across a great expanse, the massive bird runs tirelessly. Beyond the packs of ravenous coyotes, through wolf-infested mountains, across a vast, flat plain once again covered in behemoth bovine, and finally, he reaches the towering edifices of the city.
My bad on that. I think you skipped one.
Did I skip one?
Yeah, because I think we were... Maybe, I don't know. I think we missed last episode.
We would have missed one last episode. Okay, yeah, let me do the right one.
Okay, here's the right one.
Called by an unknown force, Kevin leaps a fence and begins to run. Googly eyes and a strange box dangling from his long neck, he flaps his stubby wings in glee as it begins to rain. Memories of the tall man and his sprinkler cheer his heart. There it is. Finally, a story of an emu escaping with a mission.
Great. Okay, thank you very much, Wrong Smash. And yeah, we got a few more coming from Wrong Smash there, so thank you. All right, this one is from Stefan S.
Online chat between two NASA creative artists. Do you recall the gag we did with the Pluto the dog silhouette on the planet Pluto? I'm ages. You bet, LOL. What do you have planned for Uranus? Smiley winky face.
This is in reference to that new image of Uranus, so shiny and glowy.
Yeah. I don't remember the Pluto dog silhouette on Pluto, but I do believe that it exists.
Yeah, probably. That makes sense. Okay, thank you very much. And do we have one more from Jones here?
Looks like it.
Let's go.
Did we get hold on. Is this accurate before we do one on accident?
I believe so. Yes. Okay. Yeah, here we go.
Tsubi's ship scrapes against some stranded metal. Human pursuers wouldn't hear it, of course, but you couldn't be sure what piezo data could be extracted from the onboard AI. Upon scraping the metal, a flurry of magnetites squirm into it, arranging themselves into a patterned array. Once locked, the scrap then floats towards her ship, adding to the pile.
Some nano scraps.
Yeah, I think we did that one last time.
I got the feeling we did that too.
Yeah, we gotta keep track of this a little bit more. Cross that one out. Let's do the right one.
Here we go.
An army of magnetized scrap metal joins Tsubi's descent. Good luck getting that heat sig through all this junk now, she thinks. The tablet that fetched her coords gets ejected out. Couldn't risk a comms trace. She then gently reorients herself, pointing towards her destination. Then fires a worm jump.
See? A tablet. There's another tablet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cross that one out so we don't do it again. Back on track.
Yep, there it is. Thank you very much to all the producers coming in with their talent. We appreciate it.
That's right. You are the culture here. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to go to canarycry.art. If you are a person who wants to see your creative work on the show, which I think you should, make some for the show. Art, music, jingles, whatever it is. Fushigi juggling. I know that there's somebody out there. They have not sent a video of them fushigi juggling because they are practicing day and night to improve their skills to be worthy of being on the show. And to that person, I tell you, I'm waiting and I support you. And whenever you're ready, I'm here. You can go to canarycry.art. You can upload your art there, and we'll put it on the show. And if you have an article you'd like us to consider for the show, go ahead and go to canarycry.report. That's the way to do it, folks. It's 2024. Get involved. That's the thing. That's what we're doing this year. 2024, the year of producers getting involved. All right.
Let's get cold.
So a new discovery.
Antarctica.
Penguins.
Yes. Going south again. Buenos Aires Herald headline. Surprise U-turn. Milei arrives in Antarctica to launch anti-pollution program. Oh, I thought he was the anti-climate change man. Apparently, he's doing things for climate change, Basil. He made a U-turn. Is that what happened? We'll see.
He's just showing off.
He's flexing to his populist people and the elite. He's the greatest con man. Okay, so
he's trying to not get assassinated is what he's doing.
The article reads here. President Javier Milei arrived at the Argentine Marambio base in Antarctica at noon on Saturday, intending to launch a contamination control program promoted by the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. EIA. Milei's trip could signal a change in his stance on environmental issues. During the electoral campaign, he made statements denying climate change. Milei's first visit to Antarctica has a busy agenda that also includes a visit to Esperanza, another of Argentina's outposts on the continent. There's a video here of Milei arriving, is giving high fives and handshakes to all the young children. It's great. And it continues here. The president's office wrote in an X post that Milei left the city of Rio Gallegos probably, for Antarctica after 9 a.m. The announcement is accompanied by a photo in which the president is seen walking along the runway of a military airport with his sister and Secretary General of the Presidency, Karina Milei, and Defense Minister Luis Petri. Quote, President Javier Milei departs. Okay, we know. We got it. He went there. He went to Antarctica. Milei went into the White Continent with the IAEA team, including its Argentine president, Rafael Grossi. The team's goal is to study the impact of microplastics on Antarctica's environment and wildlife in collaboration with the Argentine government. The trip is part of New Tech Plastics, an IAEA initiative to address the global challenge of plastic pollution. Scientists believe microplastics and nanoplastics have significantly contributed to greenhouse gas emissions, so the issue affects climate change, you see? Milei's support for such an initiative has drawn attention since he has consistently said that climate change is a communist hoax, and even claimed that he does not see, quote-unquote, any problem in pollution. According to the IAEA's website, the New Tech Plastics Initiative brings together countries and partners from around the world to fight plastic pollution on two fronts. Quote, at point of source by introducing new technologies to improve plastic recycling, and in the ocean where the bulk of the plastic waste ends up, end quote. And then tucked away at the end of the article, nuclear technology plays a key role on both fronts since
Irradiation.
Irradiation can be used to treat existing plastics and to render them fit for recycling. Nuclear science is also used to trace plastics in the ocean, particularly microplastics. So, very subtle, but traditionally, the climate change folks are all anti-nuclear energy. They want to go electric. That's been the big thing, right? Newsom, we're going all electric. Any kind of combustible energy is bad. But we know the reality is, clean nuclear energy is a thing. It's been a thing for a while. So is Milei really doing a U-turn here, or are the climate change sort of, zealots aligning with their...
Yeah. The fact that this is in Argentinian Buenos Aires Herald mainstream news means it's obviously he's the Trump version. They're not going to write a good article about him, right? So he's the Trump of Argentina. Whatever he does, the media is going to call him a hypocrite, going to call him all sorts of mean names. So I ignore that right off the bat. So any sort of, I don't know, what do they call it? Conflict.
Ad hominem. Yeah.
Sure, that too. Yeah. Any of that, he's a hypocrite stuff. You got to treat it like any mainstream outlet with a populist leader. I think there's a couple things here. First of all, making the microplastics about climate change is a little bit erroneous as well. I mean, the climate is not majorly affected by microplastics. What is majorly affected by microplastics is human beings. It's messing with our hormone cycles. It's messing with our fertility. It's messing with everything. These microplastics are slowly mutating the entire human race. And that very much, because of course, fitness and well-being is an alt-right, neo-Nazi interest. That kind of lines up with his persona, I think. And yes, there was all that research that microplastics are falling in the rainstorms in Antarctica. So all of our microplastics are still making it down there. And yeah, I think you're right. The connection with the sort of nuclear association, I forget what it's called, Atomic Energy Agency, is kind of along the same lines. I see this totally in line with who he claims to be. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan for any other reason than, it's kind of fun to watch him. His politics don't really affect me at all. Unless there's some secret Argentinian, I'm under some sort of secret Argentinian, I don't know,
5D chess kind of stuff going
exactly.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so I think this is just, he's totally in line here. And Antarctica, one thing about this that is specifically nationalist is the Argentinian claim to Antarctica. I mean, Argentina is like one of the biggest holders of Antarctica claims. And for him to set foot there is like a pretty big, especially because I believe his predecessor did as well. So for him to like kind of set foot, it shows whatever sort of international position that Argentina holds through their Antarctica claim. It's not like they have a whole bunch of colonies or whatever around the world. It's a really big sort of nationalist thing to do, it feels to me.
Well, of course, Argentina being where the Ushuaia, isn't that the one of the main, the gateway to Antarctica? So that's, obviously that's something to keep in mind and keep an eye on. But for him to go there, I get it. I get that in the political bubble of where he is and the geography and everything else, but it is still like, okay, interesting. It was real. It didn't take him long to go there is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, let's make this happen.
The real story is that he wanted to go meet the aliens. Argentina,
the 10-foot aliens, the NEPHILIM.
Yes, Argentina is the protectorate of at least some race of aliens down in Antarctica, or some Nazi bases, of course. He's going down, I would say there's probably a large portion of Argentinians' national treasures, both in intergalactic or interdimensional friendships and allies, as well as sort of historical landmarks, the Nazi bases. Argentina is a big deal, or Antarctica is a big deal for Argentina. He must do this to establish his dominance and create a friendship with the interdimensional beings, for sure.
My brain just did a thing where it's kind of like a Spaceballs situation. So, like a mocking thing. But Milei goes there. He finds the king Nephilim penguin, and it's a humongous Nephilim penguin, but he has the Trump hair. And then he reveals that he's the real guy behind Trump.
Of course, yeah. He's the interdimensional puppet master.
And then Milei will come out with blonde hair, and people will be amazed.
That'll be the day.
He's gonna go full Super Saiyan.
He should dye his hair. Yeah, get a real Trump thing going. Well, folks, there you have it. All the most important things you have to know today. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Crying News Talk. We're going to be back on Wednesday, but we will be hard at work tomorrow preparing something for Friday as well. So here's the thing. Remember, we stepped out in faith. We got these childcare things set up. It is currently too expensive for us to do for very long, but if you find value in what the childcare brings to this show, please consider supporting it. You can do that by going to canarycrybabysittersclub.com, and you'll see some options there. That's you telling us, hey, use this for the babies, and we will. But remember, you can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. I want to thank a very special group of producers who give of their time. It's really incredible, and it's very important to our whole operation, and that is the Timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right, the Timestampers. They're often watching live, and they are time-stamping the show. These timestamps, of course, they're made public for people to navigate the show, and it's very important for your ability to navigate the show. You can go back, do some research. You can find the clips that you want. You can help your friends navigate the show, send them the time codes that are important. But also, it goes into so much of our back-end processes, folks. This show is like a glacier. Or an iceberg. You're seeing the 1% at the top, but there's 99% that's under the water. And the Timestampers are a big part of that.
Yes.
And so I would like to thank them, Gons, or maybe you should thank them. Do we know who did the Timestampers?
Yeah, Jade Bouncerson was the one who did 703. Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson.
Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson. Possibly, well, definitely one of the most faithful producers.
Yeah.
It's been years now. Jade's been helping us with that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Other than that, thanks to Jam for the links. You can send us links at canarycry.report. Thank you to Clink for clinking. I see we got an email from you. I'll check that today. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your dog. Share it with your houseplants. Your houseplants really need to know. That's one of the groups of living beings in this country that are so entirely engaged in mainstream media. These plants, you'd think that they would kind of be on the level when it comes to human propaganda. No, they buy it hook, line, and sinker. They don't really have sort of the what's the word? I don't know, the concept of propaganda down. So they just kind of believe whatever you tell them. So go ahead, get yourself a pair of wired headphones, stick it in your iPod, stick it down into the dirt there, and make sure those plants get all the truth they possibly can, because we cannot have our trees and our shrubbery falling for all this mainstream news propaganda. We can't do it, folks. They're our first line of defense. I don't know from what, but from something for sure. But other than that, we like to call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gonz, you got any last words?
Stick around for the playlist, because we got some
mixtape.
The mixtape, yes. Got Little Owen on there. We got Jonathan F. and Marty B. So good lineup of music coming at you in a second here.
It's going to be good. All right, everybody. Remember, the Missouri meetup tomorrow is canceled due to weather. Stay tuned for a rescheduling of that event. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!
This is not about freedom or personal choice. Violence! I love the Great Reset. Armageddon's on the way. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world. They love killing. We're all gonna die.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
What I've seen is, as evil gets stronger, it pushes the boundaries more, and it enters into the realm of the absurd, and because it thinks it can get away with it, you know what I mean? Thus, there's no difference between men and women, and man can become a woman, and woman become a man, etc. The whole gender thing. This insanity takes root only because you have a history of philosophical buildup in the society that allows them to accept that absurdity. You have to go look back with Wilhelm Reich in psychology decades ago, bringing in the focus of reality, not external reality, but subjective reality, and then the focus on psychology to the point where you define your own reality for you. And then it becomes, there is no external reality, it's just your internal reality, and you got to force everyone else to accept it because there's no such thing, postmodernism, as objective reality. Therefore, this is wokeism, in case people are wondering, what does that term really mean? And because there's no objective reality, then no claim on reality is real. All there is power. Power is the god of this hive, secular, woke mentality.
Onward, Christian soldiers, time to take a stand. Upward, Christian soldiers, march to the promised land. They scourged us and purged us, they hate our Jesus. They burned us and stoned us, they're the minds with diseases. Onward, Christian soldiers, raise his banner high. Upward, Christian soldiers, lift his name to the sky. They used us and abused us, they threw their souls away. They cancel, try to shame us, but we can't be denied. They mocked us and poked us, they're nothing but twisted clowns. They scourged us and purged us, they hate our Jesus. They burned us and stoned us, they're the minds with diseases.
Then Fetterman says this.
The joke is on you. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying.
The man is eventually escorted out by police as he tells the senator to go home.
I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, hold with the cloud in a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire, and he had in his hand a little book open. And he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth. Face like the sun, face like the sun. 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 Face like the sun, face like the sun.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cried, I suppose.